Good day, world. My name is Will Roye, and I'm excited to bring you the first episode of 8 at 4, presented by VCU Health, where we bring you 8 segments about the people, places, and things that you need to know about in the Richmond area. So today we take a look at Hatch Local, Richmond's first ever food hall. We also take a look at the man, the myth, the legend, Edgar Allan Poe. We all know him for his art, but who is he as a person? These stories and much more coming to you now. So they say Virginia is for lovers, and the one thing that we really love is our food. Hatch Local, Richmond's first food hall, is looking to expand our culinary communities. Here's your chance to take a look behind the scenes. We're headed to Manchester, just outside of downtown Richmond.
I'm Joya Carlton. I work at Lynx Ventures, and we are at Hatch Local. So Hatch Local is a food hall, but it's actually so much more. I think of it as a restaurant incubator. So we have different groups of people with different varying degrees of experience in the restaurant industry. And here, they're working together really collaboratively to create a new kind of dining experience for Richmond where people can come and eat and drink inside, outside, have meetings, have parties, any reason that you would go out.
My name is Annie Holland. I am the general manager here at Hatch Local. How cool is it that you can come in and you can get Cambodian food, you can get tacos, you can get a fried chicken sandwich, some mac and cheese, and a giant sub and sit all together as a community. The opportunities really are endless, and I think it's gonna shift the game for like the Richmond food scene.
So all of the restaurants that are going to be here. First of all, we have Beatbox, that's juices, smoothies, wraps, salads. We also have a coffee bar featuring Afterglow Coffee and Roots Tea Company. We have Sincero Tacos, Royal Pig Cambodian food. Our restaurant in residence this year is Lee Gregory, who everybody in Richmond loves and knows from Alewife and Southbound. We have Fat Kids sandwiches, and then 2 concepts from power couple extraordinaire Mike Lindsay and Kim Love Lindsay. They'll be doing a buttermilk and honey, as well as a new concept called Bully Burger.
Hey, this is Chef Mike Lindsay. The main thing I'm excited about is being a part of the first food hall in Richmond. Everybody who's in this space has worked at dope restaurants. We have James Beard nominated chefs here. Yeah, we're calling it a food hall, but there's some culinary geniuses that are here.
I'm Leonda Jacobs, owner of The Sweetest Thing. My cookies, in particular my banana pudding cookies, will be at Bully Burger and Buttermilk and Honey and offered throughout the food hall.
It's been so inspiring to get to know the people who are joining us as locals in the food hall, and I think we have a unique opportunity to draw together people that are fans of these individual projects into a common space.
So food is one of my favorite art forms, and so is music. Painting is pretty cool as well. So what if we could do all these things together with our favorite glass of wine? Well, now we can. Studio 2-3 and the Richmond Black Restaurant Experience have come together to create art for the soul. Check it out.
Hey, I'm Ashley Hawkins. I'm the executive director here at Studio 2-3, and we're here for the last night of Richmond Black Restaurant Experience for Art for the Soul. Well, you hear the music, so we've got live music, we've got live printing, we've got a sip and paint event going on, we've got food from Teeny Bees, we've got a bar, and then we've got a vendor market with all local Black artists and all of their amazing work. So this is our second Art for the Soul. The first one was sort of the onset of COVID. The week before the world shut down in March of 2020. And Kelly Lemon is on our board, and we were like, let's do this dope event where it's highlighting Richmond's Black artists and screen printing and art making live so folks can understand what this space is, how they can use it, how they can make their own work, how they could be a member, how they can be an artist here. And then, obviously the world shut down, and now 2 years later, we think we're kind of hopefully through it. And we're back in it. We're making amazing things again. And it's kind of the same. It's bigger, it's better. Everybody's excited to celebrate. It's been a really incredible evening, and we're all really like happy to be here. It's like, I can't really describe the feeling of like, this is our first big event back together, like celebrating in community. It feels really good.
Art for the Soul will be returning July 30th, 2022, so be sure to save the date. You may have noticed that there's been a surge of energy in our community surrounding wellness. People are realizing that taking care of ourselves individually makes us stronger as a collective. So next, we're going to meet Ashley Williams, the owner of the Well Collective and Bare Soul Yoga. You can find them both located in the heart of Shacobata.
I am Ashley Williams, the daughter of Wanda Bennett Williams and Franklin Roosevelt Williams Jr. And I am a resident of Richmond City, and I am the owner of the Well Collective and Bare Soul Yoga and Wellness. I am a yoga therapist and a mindfulness educator, and most of my work centers around creating spaces that center wellness. In this specific space, we introduce self-care practices that encourage wellness from the physical body all the way to the spiritual body. We offer individual and group classes from yoga, meditation. We also offer movement as well as other contemplative practices and discussion. Throughout the entire space, you'll find an apothecary that offers different spiritual tools. You'll find different things that you can take home from health and wellness. It was important for me to create a space that was accessible for other wellness entrepreneurs and businesses to offer their services, because there's a lack of sustainability when it comes to creating wellness businesses because of lack of resources, lack of physical spaces. I experienced that myself, and I felt it was important to, in efforts for us to center wellness, that we actually created spaces for wellness entrepreneurs to show up. As a Black wellness entrepreneur, I also noticed that there's a lack of representation of wellness entrepreneurs in the wellness space, and so that's been really important to me to create that avenue. And then also just community. I think it's really beautiful when we can all walk in and find all of us in one space as well.
Up next on 8 at 4, we have another trailblazing individual who believes that we should be able to grow everything that we eat. Here's Deron Chavis with more on urban farming.
So my name is Deron Chavis. I am the director of a nonprofit organization called Happily Natural Day. We promote health, culture, and social change through urban farming and urban gardening throughout the Richmond region. Tonight we had the premiere of Black Space Matters Season 2. It's a show that focuses on Black land stewardship. We were able to interview Black farmers from across the region and investigate their reasoning as to how they got into the work and what kind of practices they're implementing in their spaces and what kind of things they feel are important for people to know about urban agriculture, rural agriculture, farming, sustainable agriculture, you know, those different topics. Everybody has to eat. It doesn't matter what your race is, what class you might find yourself in, what education level, sexuality, gender, religion. Like, eating food cuts across every category we might try to define and box ourselves into. And the question becomes, who's growing the food? And how did the food get to your plate? So, you know, for everybody, this is a super important topic. Everybody doesn't have to be a farmer, but everybody needs healthy, nutritious, nutrient-dense, fresh produce. You shouldn't have to be in a neighborhood that doesn't have access to healthy food. So this is a way for us to tap in and, you know, be self-determining and decide for ourselves what kind of foods we're going to have in our community.
So as a lifelong Richmond resident, going to Richmond Flying Squirrels and Richmond Braves games has always been one of my favorite things to do. But can anybody tell me where's Connecticut? What happened to him? This is Connecticut. Many of us remember Connecticut living inside the diamond in the days of the Richmond Braves. He was a familiar face on the boulevard. But after the Richmond Braves transitioned out of town, the Flying Squirrels came in to set up shop, and Connecticut no longer fit the brand. After a little consideration, he was then found a new home with a beautiful riverfront view. This new home was the Lucky Strike building in Shockoe Bottom. Connecticut was highly visible from the top of Libby Hill, and many morning joggers greeted him during their daily workouts. In the last few years, Connecticut has gone missing. His sculptor, Paul de Pascal, has stated that being exposed to the elements was a little too harsh on Connecticut, and he has since been moved to an undisclosed location. Hopefully, we'll get to see Connecticut again soon. I miss the guy. So there's another Richmond favorite that we haven't seen in a while. Some might know him as Edgar, others as the author of The Raven. But who was Edgar Allan Poe as a person? I took a trip to the Poe Museum to learn more.
We're at the world's finest collection of Poe things, the Edgar Allan Poe Museum in historic Richmond, Virginia. Now I'll show you right this way. So this is the heart and soul of the museum. This garden was landscaped a century ago in 1922, and the whole complex consists of 4 buildings in all. This is the first one, the old stone house, the oldest house still standing in Richmond. Poe was a Richmonder. He grew up here, he got his start in journalism here, he got married here, he first fell in love here. So this is the city that he knew best, and it helped shape who he became. He always sort of felt like he was on the outside when he was growing up. He never knew his father or his mother. His father abandoned the family, his mother died when he was 2 years old, and he got taken in by foster parents, but his foster father never really considered him part of the family, never included him in his will, never legally adopted him, and always used to remind Edgar that he was only with them out of charity. So Poe always felt like he was on the outside looking in, that he didn't quite fit into Richmond high society. He grew up reading Lord Byron, the British poet they called mad, bad, and dangerous to know, the guy who swam the Hellespont, the guy who ran off to fight the Greek Wars of Independence, and Poe said, I want to be like Byron when I grow up. I want to be just like that guy. Byron would dress in black, wear his hair all wild and curly, have love affairs all over Europe, and Poe said, that's what I want to do. I want to be a rock star poet like him. So Poe was creating a persona. He's creating this image of himself. When years later, when somebody asked him for some biographical information, Poe sent him a whole story. He said that, oh yeah, I'm 2 years younger than everybody thinks I am, that I graduated first in my class at UVA, took off to Europe to fight the Greek Wars of Independence, but got captured and sent to St. Petersburg, Russia, was rescued from there, had all these adventures in Europe, all completely made up, but that's the image that Poe created for himself. Maybe he wasn't happy with reality, so he just created a whole new reality. Poe wasn't just about darkness. He wasn't just about writing terror tales. He explored the whole range of human experience in his works. So he wrote comedies, he wrote love stories, a lot of love poetry. But we tend to remember him for the horror stories. It's not because he didn't write the other things, it's because horror is a genre that's really stuck with us. And one of the great things about Poe's horror stories is they're really adaptable. He liked to write about people just like you or me, that went a little bit mad sometimes. He was one of the early people who really understood that we're not entirely in control of our own minds, that behind the ego that's telling us what we should do and what we should think, what's the right thing to do, there's some dark voice he called the imp of the perverse, telling us to do the wrong thing for the wrong thing's sake. And usually we're able to hold it back. He explains that sometimes we'll be on the edge of a cliff and it's telling us step just one more step, but we know to hold back. But what happens if we don't hold back? That's when we get stories like The Black Cat or The Telltale Heart. He was expressing his own view of the world, which unfortunately tend to be a little bit dark sometimes. And it's not his fault, it's When he was a kid, his mother died. When he was 14, his first love died. When he got married and thought things were finally gonna go okay, then his wife got tuberculosis and she died young. So it's one tragedy after another. So when he was writing poetry, he thought, well, I gotta write good poetry. How do I know what's good? He said, a beautiful poem has to be sad. He said, well, how do you know what beauty is? Beauty, you can't measure it, you can't define it, but beauty is that which stirs the sensitive soul to tears. You know beauty by the way it makes you feel. When he thought back to all those women he loved and lost, he connected beauty and death, love and death all at once. That's why he wrote so many poems about dying women like Lenore, Annabel Lee, the Raven. And here's our little bust of Poe. People been giving him flowers and kisses on the cheek. We don't know why they wanted to kiss him. It doesn't seem like the most sanitary thing to do during COVID. People, they feel connected with him. He lives on through his works. He's still here with us. Poetry continues, short stories, but more importantly, imagination continues. The museum really is an idea. It's an idea that the written word, that imagination matter.
Up next is sports, presented by the Richmond Flying Squirrels. Sports betting is growing in Richmond and across the states. So with that in mind, we have our very own Mike Savetitz with some betting insight from Front Page Bets.
Hey everyone, welcome to Front Page Bets. What is Front Page Bets, you ask? Well, it's our sports betting vertical that covers the industry that is one of the fastest growing in the world. Everything from sports betting to the business that surrounds it, original content produced by Front Page Bets to give our readers and sports bettors, from the novice to the expert, on what they can do when they're looking at a game to bet it. So our goal here is threefold: to educate, inform, and entertain. Educating on what's legal, what's not legal. It's legal in 30 different states in America in one form or fashion, from online to sports books, brick and mortar. You can do it in 30 different states, legalized in Virginia as well 2 years ago. So you can have the education of where you can bet, how you can bet, what is betting, from like the novice, from kind of sports betting 101. But we're also going to inform you. So if you wanted to place a bet on a game, our job is to give you all the details, to give you all the information you need to know about a team, a player, a matchup. Just like sports writers have been doing for decades and decades, how can you educate and inform yourself to make the best bet that you can make? Also, we want to entertain. We're going to have so much fun here at Front Page Bets, so we hope to see you around. Keep it here.
Okay, so last but certainly not least, we bring you A1 Extra. A1 Extra highlights our brilliant writers at the Richmond Times-Dispatch and gives them an opportunity to give further insight on their stories. Recently, our friend Michael Phillips wrote a piece on the new ownership at Colonial Downs, so we caught up with him to hear more.
Colonial Downs is the only horse racing track in Virginia that races thoroughbred horses, and so their purchase was obviously big news. Churchill Downs in Kentucky, of course, is one of the most famous horse racing venues in America. They do the Kentucky Derby, all that, so they bring a lot of expertise. One of their executives, Bill Karstagen, came to the Virginia legislature a couple weeks ago to introduce himself, and I spoke with him at the Jefferson Hotel during that media tour, asked him about his plans for the track and what Churchill Downs plan to bring to the table. They see a lot of potential in the Virginia market. So Virginia shut down horse racing a few years ago when it didn't work out financially for the previous owners at Colonial Downs, and now has brought it back thanks to the revenues from the Rosie's gaming parlors, the slot machine style games that are in place around the state. They're going to have 10 of those locations soon. Those monies drive the horse racing side of the operation. So the more money Rosie's makes, the more money there is to pump into horse racing, and that's by law. They have to use the money to stage horse races, and so the Churchill Downs folks are sitting on a big pile of money to conduct big horse races with. They obviously have ins with the biggest trainers in the world who aspire to the Kentucky Derby. One of the things they said was they want to hold a Kentucky Derby qualifying race here in New Kent, Virginia at Colonial Downs. I think a lot of people will be very excited about that, but they also want to improve the day-to-day product and just get more people out to more horses, better horses, a higher level of competition than has traditionally been in Virginia. One of the things about Colonial Downs is they've moved to holding races during the summer, during the daytime, on Monday through Wednesday. They've been racing Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays during the day. That's a terrible time for spectators, of course, but there's a business reason for that. There aren't a lot of horse tracks conducting races Monday afternoons, and so people who are looking for simulcast betting, cell phone betting, they put them out on TV, on various television networks. You bet from home is a very big thing right now, so they have a monopoly on that Monday afternoon horse racing market. Now, what Churchill Downs says is that they want to expand. They want to go to night races, weekend races, times where more people can get out to the track itself. The sale to Churchill Downs won't officially close until the end of this year, so this year's racing will be conducted as normal at Colonial Downs.
Well, it's certainly been a pleasure to share these stories with you all today. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to 8 at 4, presented by VCU Health. My name is Will Roye, and I'll see you next time.